Sundown towns. Let's talk about it. Dodge County, Georgia is 73rd on the list. When learning about Dodge County, we have to learn about the county seat, Eastman. By 1903, Dodge County was sick with Jim Crow and fits the criteria of a Jim Crow sundown town. Segregation in public spaces, schools, and housing, terror from the hoods, the police, and citizens, violence, or worse. Let's learn history. This county was incorporated after the Civil War, so technically there was no slavery in Dodge County. But the formation of this county was so chaotic that it led to a land war that lasted for over 40 years, and over a dozen people were unalived. During the land wars, our ancestors were minding our own black business and figuring out our new freedom. Our ancestors here knew that church, education, and wealth was our way to equality. So, right after emancipation in 1868, Shorter's Chapel was founded. As our ancestors were making safe communities all over Dodge County, we felt safe enough to venture away from home and join a camp gathering in August 1882. We were out having a good time, and a fight broke out. Fights happen all the time, but when you're black, you're never really alone, and an uninvolved white man decided to jump in it. One of the fighters was handed off to the marshals. He was under the influence and decided to run. The marshals shot him in the back while he was running away. Our ancestors at camp heard about what happened and rushed to the scene. Newly freed and determined not to stand for this injustice, our ancestors chased the officers and the uninvolved man. Officers got away, but they caught the guy, and they unalived him. This incident turned this county into a Jim Crow sundown county. White mobs heard about what happened and demanded justice. Well, almost 24 of our ancestors were rounded up and jailed. 5 of the 22 were unalived, October 20th of 1882. Despite the intimidation from the 1882 unalivings, history shows that our ancestors continued to work as sharecroppers, and they continue to build up our segregated communities. Come back for part 2 when we'll learn about the unalivings of sharecroppers, the lynchings of sharecroppers, and the burnings of our churches and our lodges in Dodge County, Georgia. Part 2, Sundown Town number 73, Dodge County, Georgia. We left off learning about one of our first churches here. We learned about the race riot of 1882. We learned about the 5 people that were unalived after the race riot. Let's continue learning. By the early 1900s, we were making our way since segregation was the way of life for our ancestors. But in 1903, being a black man and fitting the description was enough to get you lynched in this Jim Crow sundown county. A mob looking for Ed Claus lynched the wrong man. A white woman said he should be unalived, but he had never seen that woman before in his life. She swore it was him. Off her word, the mob lynched him. The governor heard that an innocent man was lynched. His response was to offer a $300 reward to find the right man. That's about right in this Jim Crow sundown county. At this point, our place was clear. We had our growing communities in Eastman around the railroad tracks. The hoods were an ever-growing presence. In 1910, a Confederate monument was put up in front of the Dodge County Courthouse in Eastman. Our ancestors started leaving this place in the first migration north around this time. For those who stayed, equality was top of the list. Generational wealth was the talk, and the kids needed education. So our ancestors needed a safe place to talk about this. The church and lodges is where our ancestors met to discuss these urgent matters. Well, during the Red Summer of 1919, history says that Eli Cooper was trying to organize our ancestors who were sharecroppers. He felt like we had been run over for a very long time, and it was time it stopped. History says he was planning something. The local whites got wind of how he was talking, and white fear set in. A mob kidnapped Mr. Cooper, set our lodges and churches on fire, and lynched him for talking too much. We couldn't even talk in peace without the threat of being lynched in this Jim Crow Sundown County. Come back for part 3 as we continue to talk about the Red Summer of 1919, our school, and the Civil Rights Movement. That's my puppy drinking water. And the Civil Rights Movement that revealed the housing discrimination in Dodge County, Georgia. Part 3, Sundown Town, number 73, Dodge County, Georgia. 1919 was known as the Red Summer, and in part 2, we learned about the mistaken identity that ended in a lynching, and the first lynching of Red Summer of 1919 in Dodge County, Georgia. Let's continue learning. Barry Washington was a leader in our community, a trusted man. 2 girls were terrified after a white man tried to essay them. They ran to Mr. Washington's home for safety. He protected them by unaliving one of the perps. He reported it immediately to the police, but we didn't live under the same laws as the white people. He was stolen from the jail and lynched. So by 1920, the Great Migration was in full effect, and our ancestors from Dodge County, Georgia, greatly added to the overall total of those leaving the South. Those who stayed continued to build community. In 1938, the separate and unequal Peabody School was founded in Eastman. Students there received much less funding, and that left us with old beaten-up textbooks, and our teachers were underpaid. We had segregated facilities, separate entrances, and we were second-class citizens in Dodge County, Georgia. But nonetheless, our ancestors started buying land, and we started many organizations to give us a collective voice. By the 1940s, the hoods were in full swing here and didn't want to see any integration, especially within unions. The Peabody School remained segregated until the 1970s. And in 2010, our family here won a lawsuit against the Housing Authority for their history of systematically placing Black and white applicants in different housing based on race. Can anyone share a first-hand account about this place, past or present? Share this video. Tag them in the comments. Let's learn.